Hi guys, welcome back. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry about the hair. I just had a shower, so it's still wet, so it looks kind of bad. But I'm going to, from now on, I'm going to start off by telling a little bit of my backstory of why I'm even doing this channel. First of all, I'm doing this channel because doing the research on the crimes and doing the videos keeps my mind busy. And there's a very specific reason as to why I have to keep my mind busy. Another reason why I'm doing this video is because the videos and the channel is because I'm hoping that one day I can make a little bit of money off of it, and also just bring some awareness about a specific thing. And this has to do with my backstory. I want to make a little bit of money of it because well, I'll explain that in a minute. Well, so my backstory. Um, First of all, I'm a mother to 6 kids, 4 girls and 2 boys. I only have 5 living kids left because on December the 28th of 2020, which wasn't very long ago, my son committed suicide. And he did it by shooting himself in the head, and I'm the one that found him. So, the main reason I'm telling you guys this is because in some of the, some of the videos that I do, it mentions suicide, and I may get emotional if things to do with guns, I get emotional sometimes. So I just wanted to explain why, in case I ever do that. Now, the reason I want to make money off of this is because I want to start a foundation in my son's name that will help families. Everybody thinks about the expense of the funeral, but what they don't think about is maybe the cleanup after something like that. You have to pay to have it cleaned. And they don't think about the fact that sometimes family just needs to take time off work and they still have to pay bills. So sometimes they don't get that luxury or that need met to be able to take time off work. So I'm hoping that one day these videos may do some good, and I may be able to start that to help families in this situation. So that's my story, guys. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I need to do this. And that's why sometimes I may get emotional in the videos. Just if anybody's out there that's watching, that's having thoughts of suicide, it's not worth it. The pain don't go away. It just goes to the family members. It just passes on, so it don't go away. Just go get help, because it's out there. Hi guys, and welcome back. And say hi, Kiwi. Today we're going to be talking about the Green River Killer. He actually was confessed to 71 murders, but was convicted of 49. And he operated in the state of Washington in the 1980s and the 1990s. So that's who we're going to be talking about today. Can you say hi? Say hi, Kiwi. Okay, guys, we'll just go ahead and get ready to, I'm going to give a disclaimer. There is going to be sexual content, mention of sexual content, graphic description of his crimes. So there's a lot of graphic detail, sexual content. So there is a viewer discretion is advised today. And as always, I'm not going to mention any of the victims' names, like always. So we'll go ahead and jump right into the story. So Gary Leon Ridgway, aka the Green River Killer, was born on February the 18th of 1949. He was born to Mary and Thomas Ridgway, and he was the second of 3 sons. So my little girl's in here with me, and she's actually aggravating Kiwi. As you can tell, Kiwi's getting very aggravated. He's protective over me, so you can see he's rubbing all over me because he thinks my little girl's gonna bother me.
You little brat.
He's very. I don't have a guard dog. I've got a guard bird. So as you can see, he just. He gets very upset when somebody touches me. He's quite funny at times. See how he just rubs me because she was touching me, so he just wants to love on me and make sure I'm okay. I'm okay. I know I'm okay. Yes, you're a good baby that loves me. I know. He's such a sweet baby. As you can see, she's rubbing my arm, so he's getting very upset.
Kiwi, buddy, it's fine. Beep, 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 beep.
It's said that Mary, Gary's mother, was very domineering. Now, Thomas, Gary's father, was a bus driver, and he constantly came home and complained about the presence of sex workers along his route. And Gary's parents had several violent arguments that Gary actually witnessed growing up. Gary had a bedwetting problem up until the age of 13. And every time he would wet his bed, his mother would put him in the tub and wash him, even his genital area. And it said that because Gary later told psychiatrists and psychologists that he had angry feelings toward his mother, and he was sexually attracted to her, and he always fantasized about killing her. Now, when Gary was 16 years old, he lured a 6-year-old boy out into the middle of the woods, and he stabbed him in the ribs. Now, when he stabbed him in the ribs, it hit the boy's liver, but nobody ever discovered who did that. It was never linked to Gary because they just didn't have any proof. There was no evidence or nothing of that nature. Now, Gary would later confess to doing that, and that's how they knew he was the one that did that. Now, Gary is dyslexic, and he got held back a year in high school, and his IQ is very low. He's got a very low IQ. Now, Gary graduated from Thai High School in 1969 and married his 19-year-old high school girlfriend. Gary then joined the United States Navy and got sent to Vietnam. He served on a supply ship during his time there. He kept having sex with sex workers, and he caught gonorrhea. And he was divorced within a year because of the constant going and being with the sex workers and having things to do with the sex workers. So that's what led to his divorce. I'm just kind of watching Kiwi because he's kind of carrying on. So Gary would get married again in 1973. After this marriage, he became very religious. He would go door to door and just read the Bible out loud. He would read the Bible out loud at work and different things like that because he did get very religious. And his wife said that he would just demanded sex all the time, and he would demand to do it in inappropriate places, and even sites where he would later drop his victims at. And Gary, he continued to have sex with the sex workers and things, and that's what led to his second divorce. Now, he would get divorced in 1981, but now before he did get divorced, he did have a son with his second wife in 1975. Now, I'm not going to mention the son's name because there again, I just want to protect his privacy and things and not mention him just out of respect. Not mention his name, I should say, out of respect. He's so funny. He's so hyper tonight. Yes, use hyper tonight. Use hyper baby tonight. Yes, a hyper kiwi tonight. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now, in 1988, he would marry his third wife. And later in an interview, he did say that he did love this wife. He loved, he did fall in love with this wife. And he would actually only have 3 victims during their marriage. So he did actually care about this relationship. Okay, so the murders. So let's just jump right into the murders. Throughout the 1980s and the 1990s, Gary is believed to have murdered at least 71 teenage girls and women around the Seattle, Tacoma, Washington area. Now, Gary later in court said that he killed so many people or so many women that he lost count of actually how many victims that he had. So he killed a lot of people. Like, I don't know. He bragged about this, that he lost count of how many victims he had. How sick in the mind do you have to be to actually brag about something like that? Now, he would target runaway teens and sex workers, and he picked them up along the Pacific Highway South. Now, I'm going to just double check myself here, so I'm going to look at my notes for a second because I don't want to tell you something wrong. Now, most of the victims would be dumped in wooded areas along the Green River, Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, and other dump sites within South King County. Now, the victims would be dumped in groups, mostly. A few of them was in shallow graves, but mostly they were dumped in groups. And he would even take some of the bodies and pose them in like sexual positions and just leave them there. That's how he would leave the victims, is in those sexual positions that he would put them in. Now, he would go back to the victims, and he would have sex with their corpse. And he said he did that so that he didn't have the urge to kill as many women. So he would go back and have sex with them. And he said later on, when he started burying them in the shallow graves, he said it so he wouldn't be tempted to go back and have sex with the corpse. And that was just simply because he said he didn't like doing it. How he killed his victims was how he lured them and convinced them to go with him. Well, obviously, some of those was sex workers, and some of them he would show pictures of his son just to convince them, and he would get these women to have sex with him, and he'd always have sexual intercourse with them from behind. And when he was about done, he would put his right arm around the woman's neck and then take his left arm and make his right arm tighter around their neck and strangle them to death. And that's how he did every one of his victims. He would kill his victims either in his house, in his truck or in a secluded area. And then he would take the body to the dump sites, to the areas where he took the other bodies to. Hello. Hello, kitty wee. The investigation. Okay, so Gary was arrested in 1982 and again in 2001 on charges related to prostitution. Okay, now in 1983, Gary became a suspect in the killings, and in 1984, he passed a polygraph test. And on April 7th of 1987, I'm just double checking the dates because I don't want to tell you people wrong. Police took hair and saliva samples from Gary. Now in 2001, the samples collected in 1987 would undergo DNA profiling. And this test would link Gary to the murders. They had their proof, and on November the 30th of 2001, Gary was arrested and charged. So, Gary confessed on November the 5th of 2003. He entered into a guilty plea to 48 charges of aggravated first-degree murder. Now, as part of a plea bargain, he agreed to, in June, this would spare him the execution. I can't talk, sorry. But as part of the plea bargain, he led investigators to the victims. Now, not all of the victims were found, and throughout the years, hikers and different things like that has found parts of the bodies and the bodies of the victims, but not all of the victims has been found yet to this day. Now, on December 18th of 2003, Gary was sentenced to 48 life sentences without parole, and an additional 10 years per each 48 counts for tampering with evidence, and this would add 480 years to his already 48 life sentences. Now I'm just going to kind of read off a list of the ages and the victims, the ones that was found and what was found of those. So just bear with me a moment and I'll get that list. Actually, I'll put a link up so that you guys can just take a look at the list. That way you can see the victims' names and things too. But there was, like I said, there was at least 71 victims that they know about. But he was only charged with 48 because they could only tie 48 to him. This was, I mean, he was a very sick person. He had to be. Do you hear Kiwi in the background hollering beep? Yeah, he's wanting to play, and he's kind of in the other room right now. He gets very loud. So, he's saying bacon, bacon, pancake. I don't know if you can understand that or not, but that's what he's saying. So, there was no mention of any, like, psychologist testing him for any mental illnesses or anything like that. I couldn't find anything like that. I personally feel like that he has some type of mental illness in order for him to do this. Now his other wife, I did forget to mention, his last wife, he did get divorced in 2002. I forgot to tell you guys that. So, he's so loud. Okay, so just let me guys know what you think about this case. I personally think it's crazy. I mean, Gary, come on. So just let me know what you guys think, and if there's any stories you guys would like me to cover. As always, go ahead and leave a comment down below the video, and I'd be more than happy to cover those stories. But you guys be safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.